Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Mel and I am a knitter and crafter living on the Orkney Islands off the north coast of Scotland. If you are new here, then welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If I'm a little scratchy this morning, I have just finished recording my finished objects video. I suspect it'll be about an hour long, but I'm not sure yet because I haven't looked at the footage, but I've been talking for a long time. I did grab a cup of tea, but I'm still quite scratchy. I could do with about another pint of tea. But this video is going to be my current works in progress. I have a few. I did have a bit of cast-on-itis at the beginning of the year, so I have a few things to work through, and they're all very different. In fact, I only have one pair of socks here, which is really unusual for me. So let's get into it, shall we? I'm not sure where to start. I am surrounded by projects. Let's see. Let's start with something you have seen before if you're a returning viewer. This is a project I haven't worked on in ages, and I haven't got my patterns in the right order, so I'll have to find the right one. But I've been working on a pair of wristies for a couple of years, and it is the Wishmaker mitts by Erica Hauser. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correct, but I have been wanting to make these for ages, and I started them ages ago. I went through a phase of making a lot of colourwork wristies and mittens, and I just fell out of love with doing it. But I already started these, and I have another pair that I want to make. Actually, there's probably half a dozen other pairs that I want to make, but I am progressing now. I am trying to finish these off. This is only the first one, mind, but it is coming along. I have worked through most of this first wristie. Funny thing, I don't get second sock syndrome. I will quite happily finish one sock and cast on the second one without thinking about it. But second wristies and second mittens, really bad. So I'm just trying to do, every few days, is just work through like a segment of the chart and say, oh, I want to do like 5 rows, or I want to get up to the thumb or whatever. So I have got past the splitting for the thumb hole, and they are coming on really, really nicely. I'm loving the colours I chose to do these in. They have like dandelion pom-pom designs on, which I love, and I thought would look nice in green. So that's what I'm doing. The yarns I'm using, I have Drops Flora for the green in colour 15, and the like off-white colour is colour number 1, again Drops Flora. Drops Flora is a 65% wool, 35% alpaca, so these feel really nice and soft and warm. And then the gold colour is West Yorkshire Spinners in the colourway Nutmeg. I am knitting these on a, oh, I really wish I brought my reading glasses in here now. It is a 2.5 millimeter Look at needles, magic loop, and I am using my self-made little colourwork ring for the colourwork chart on this. I'm really happy with how they're working up, even though they are working up slowly. I'm going to try and get these finished in the next month or so. I have another project I'm kind of nibbling at as well, which I will show you in a moment. So these haven't been worked on in the last couple of weeks, but once the other project is kind of at least a good chunk done, then these I will, in my afternoon knitting slot, I will say, oh, through one video YouTube podcast I will work on these, and then I'll swap to something else. They don't usually get done for my evening knitting. They're definitely my afternoon sort of project. The other project that I have been working on in the afternoon is a shawl, which I think I have, yes, I have shown this on the podcast before. This was a shawl I started last year, I think. Yeah, must have been last year. And I got the body finished, but it has a knitted on border. I'm just untangling my needles and yarns. It has a knitted on border, and that's what's taking so long now, because I'm just working a chart over like 13, 14 stitches, something like that, for this lace border. This is a shawl that I'm going to really struggle to show actually, because of the way it is on the needles. But the body of the shawl, which is back to front, is bands of stockinette interspersed with bands of like an eyelet garter lace work. It is a crescent shaped shawl, and I'm really happy with how it's looking. I bought these yarns to make a shawl at the Scottish Yarn Festival many years ago, and the shawl I was going to make I decided against because it was a triangular shawl, and I struggle to wear a traditional triangle shawl. It just doesn't work for the way that I wear a shawl. If I wanted a big over-the-shoulder triangle shawl, I do have one of those, but for like going out somewhere, I like a more elongated, either a wide triangle, shallow triangle shawl, or a crescent shawl. Crescent shawl is my favourite. So I am currently working on the border, and it is like a wave lace design. It's there, you can kind of see it. It will show up a lot better when it is finished and when it is blocked. The pattern is one by a designer I hadn't come across before until I was searching for a new pattern to make for this yarn, to use this yarn to make. A new shawl pattern to make using this yarn. This is the Merlot shawl by Elise Dupont, and it is a very pretty shawl. I don't remember if this is a bought for or paid pattern. I think it's a bought pattern, and very happy with how it's written, except I would prefer if the lace work was charted. I like a charted lace pattern chart. This is written instructions for the lace work, and I find that with lace instructions, when you've got them all written out, I lose track of where I am in the pattern really easily. It just kind of all blurs together after a while, because you've got so many like slip this, past this, blah 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 blah. You get kind of lost in it. So I do prefer a charted lace pattern, but I'm managing fine. And now that I've kind of done it a few times, many times on this border, I'm kind of used to it. So that is the Merlot shawl, and I'm really happy with how it's progressing. So on an afternoon, I'm just doing sort of 2, maybe 3 repeats of the lace chart, and hopefully within a month or so I'll have finished the border. It's coming along. I've done maybe a quarter of it, maybe. I have done, how far have I done? I've done, you know, I've done quite a bit. So I think I've done about a quarter of it. The yarns I'm using are by a dyer that unfortunately no longer dyes yarn. I have used up pretty much all of the multicoloured yarn, and I have this much left of the contrast. The dyer was Old Maiden Ant yarns, and the colour fully completely was the blue one, and the kind of bronzy colour is a Midnight Owl. The base is a 50% superwash merino, 50% silk, so it's going to be a lovely soft shawl to wear around the neck, but also should be quite warm. So very happy with how that is progressing. Looking around me, is there anything else you've seen before? Yes, there is one more item that you have seen before, and it is my 3rd Zweig sweater. I will show you a picture of the finished thing, but it just has a diagram, but I'm sure many of you will recognise the Zweig sweater by Caitlin Hunter from many years ago. I have made 2 of these before, a green one, and I have made a short sleeve version one. This time I'm making an autumn one, using 2 shades of this beautiful, beautiful rusty brown fancy pants yarn. So if I untangle my threads, I somehow managed to have the balls of yarn through the neck hole, I think. It has been a couple of weeks since I've worked on this. I have finished the lace slash colourwork yoke for this, and now it's just up to the kind of stockinette part. It looks so pretty. I'm loving it. It shows up really, really well on camera. I mean, it does show up well in real life, but it's really showing up nicely on camera. It is gorgeous. I love this. I love the pattern. I love working this lacework chart. This is why I have a third one of these now. I bought the yarn for this at the Scottish Yarn Festival in Perth. I'm not sure what year it was, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I bought 2 skeins in this copper, but there was only 2 left, and I bought a third skein in a slightly lighter shade of copper. Same base, same dyer. The dyer is Iolay Yarns, and that is their label. It has pretty birds on it, the eagles, probably eagles. And the colourway name, it doesn't really have a name. Is that the colourway name? Luing, or is that the base? Do I have another one? That might be the colourway name. I assumed that was the base name, Luing. I'm assuming that is Gaelic, or a Scottish name for, I can't even get this to focus. No, it doesn't want to focus. Anyway, the base is a 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. It just has dye lot numbers on and Luing. I'm going to Google what that means actually when I finish recording, because now I'm wondering if it's the colourway name and not just the base name. But I have 2 of those, 1 of those, and I was struggling to find a pattern that I could use 2 skeins of one colour, 1 skein of another colour, and have enough to do a garment. But because this is lace, which kind of opens up and uses less yarn, and it's got a bit of colourwork in it, I was thinking I would be able to just eke a sweater out of this. I might end up with 3/4 sleeves, I don't know yet. What I'm planning on doing is towards the bottom of the sweater, possibly adding another band of this colourwork down at the bottom. I have seen sweaters with that on, and possibly at the bottom of the sleeves, because I have quite a bit of that left and it would eke out the darker yarn some more. So I will work down the sweater, get to a sort of minimum length, weigh how much yarn I've got left, and then do some knitting math and work out how much yarn I can save, and try and do that. I guess I could also do like the cuffs or the bottom rib in contrast, but I'd rather not. I'm not the biggest fan of that look. I'd rather just do the kind of fake corrugated, it's not really corrugated rib if it's not on the rib, but that's what it reminds me of, corrugated rib, those little columns of colourwork. So that is my Zweig sweater. Everything else I think is new to the channel. So let's start with the other one that's beside me, which I think is this one. Okay, this is a very badly printed pattern. My printer was obviously having a bad day, but I have started the Blafiel sweater. It is a colourwork yoke sweater with these kind of like flower, snowflakey flower design. It's not like a selbu, it's similar sort of thing. It's got that same sort of feel to it. It is a colourwork sweater, colourwork yoke sweater. I haven't got very far. I have got to the point where I need to start the colourwork. I have done the collar and I have done the short rows for... Sorry about that, I really needed to sneeze all of a sudden. I think it's the alpaca fibres floating around. Okay, so it has got to the point where I need to do the colourwork. I have done short rows below the collar. I do that with all my garments. The Zweig has short rows below the collar as well. And I have done the collar, and that's it. We're down to the colourwork. I am using Drops Fable for this, that I bought for this years ago. I bought a lot of Drops yarn about, I don't know, 7 years ago for many patterns. I had the patterns, I chose the yarns, I bought them all. I have yet to get through it all. So this yarn and this pattern has been on the to-do list for about 7 or 8 years. I have dropped Fable in, I have no idea what shade of blue, but the white is drop number 100 because I have the yarns here for it. The needle that I'm using, I brought my phone, which is a good job because I have not got the yarn label for the blue, and sometimes I write the needle size down on the pattern and sometimes it's in the Ravelry page, but apparently I have not wrote it on the pattern, or have I? No, so I'm going to have to check my Ravelry page for this. Not very organised this morning, am I? Okay, no, that I have no idea why. Okay, so I've used 3mm needles, and the blue is colourway 108, which is royal blue, and apparently I'm incorporating Zweig. I think it's because I've used the stitch count for Zweig. So what I'm doing is using the stitch count and everything for the Zweig, which I know fits well. And then I'm using the chart, making the chart fit the Zweig pattern, basically. Because this pattern, if I remember rightly, has got a very wide neckline on it, which doesn't really fit in with how I wear sweaters. So I am using the dimensions of the Zweig and the stitch count, but using the chart and the kind of overall look from the Blafiel pattern. Blafiel is by Winterludes. This is a designer. So that is my Blafiel sweater, which hasn't got very far yet. Next up we have the one sock pattern that I'm currently working on, which is nearly finished. It is not really a pattern per se, as it incorporates a stitch pattern, if that makes sense. So I'm using the Estonian spiral pattern, which is, it makes these kind of checkerboard effect in the way that you knit this stitch pattern. The socks, I've just kind of adapted my vanilla sock pattern to make the Estonian spiral pattern. So let's see, I have finished one and I have nearly finished the second one, so I probably won't show these again on the podcast. So here we go. You can really see the Estonian spiral pattern on the ankle, and the sock pattern that I got this from just has these on the ankle, but when I'm wearing them I'm not going to be able to see the pattern, so I incorporated a bit of it on the bridge of the foot. I just kind of spin this around on the sock blocker, and then I can kind of show what I mean with that. I can't get it to twist over now. Okay, so on the top of the sock I have put some of this, and actually on the bottom of the foot I have done eye partridge slip stitches, because this yarn is a merino nylon indie dyed yarn and they don't hold up very well on my feet, so I like to do that for merino sock yarn. I only did the Estonian spiral for a short time, basically whilst I did this, because it wants to twist around on your foot, which is, on the ankle you don't notice it, it's perfectly fine, but on the foot it kind of twists the whole sock round, and I could cut up to that point it felt fine, but I imagine it would feel really weird once it got a bit longer, so I just stuck with putting it on the first part of the sock. I've done contrast toes, heels, cuff. This is my usual vanilla sock pattern, just adapted. So Turkish cast on, toe up. To account for the pattern, it says to increase your stitch count, so I did, I don't remember how many stitches on the top of the foot, but I know I changed it on the second one. I think there's a couple of, I think there's maybe 4 extra stitches. There's maybe 36 stitches, I think, because I'm pretty sure the pattern stitch repeat is 6 stitches, and then 32 on the bottom, which would normally be on the top. Stockinette, gusset, 16 stitch increase each side. Eye partridge, heel turn, stockinette heel flap, because I tend to wear them at, I don't really wear shoes that often. Then I did the pattern for the ankle and a 1x1 twisted rib for the cuff, which is not a rib that I do very often, but I thought would look really nice with this pattern because of the way the columns are quite pronounced on this. I thought it would kind of mirror that effect there. And I did a pop of colour at the top. So the yarns that I have used for the main yarn is one I picked up in Perth. This one is by Mrs. Lamb Yarns, and it is a merino nylon in the colour Summer Bouquet, and there is her logo, Mrs. Lamb Yarns. Self-striping yarn, and I love the colours, they're so pretty. It came with a free mini skein, which is the green that I've used for the heel and the cuff. I accidentally used the wrong colours for this. I think originally I'd planned on using the green for the toe and the cuff, not the heel. But I knit the sock at that point and realised I was going to use the pink for the heel because that's obviously what gets most wear, and the pink is a Drops Fable. The pink is Drops Fable in Rouge, I think. Let's have a quick look. Rosa, in Rose, 109. So I meant to do that in pink where it gets the most wear because it's more hard wearing than the merino, but unfortunately I didn't, so they ended up like this, but it's fine. I did a pop of colour at the top just to tie in with the toe basically, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. The second one is nearly done. I just have the other half of the ankle and the cuff to done, and then these will be in my drawer and in circulation for the spring and summer. I like the merino ones mostly for over the summery months just because they're not as warm, and it's a nice spring summery colourway as well. So very happy with those. Okay, next, what do we have next? We've got done that one. We have two more works in progress. Let's start with the ton sweater, I think. Okay, where is the project bag? Okay, the ton sweater. I started this with a different yarn. Well, no, I swatched with a different yarn a little while ago and I didn't like the effect, so I used a different yarn, and I'm really happy with how it's going to look. This is the ton sweater. It is by hang on, I just remember how to pronounce this because it's Irish. Albiona McLaughlin. I know it's McLaughlin. I think it's Albiona, and it's really pretty. It's got this wave lace design, which you can either have with these quite close together, or I don't know if there's another picture that shows them. Yeah, that shows them further apart. Or you can have them wider apart with more space in between, which is what I will be doing. The yarn I'm using is a Drops yarn. It's Drops Flora again. And the colours, the contrast is in the colourway 11, which is this really pretty petrol kind of a blue-green. I wouldn't say it was teal, but it's kind of it's more blue for teal, I think. Bordering on teal, and a beigey colour, pale beige, number 39, which I think is marshmallow. I seem to have a lot of yarns called marshmallow, and they're all very, very different. I have a West Yorkshire Spinners yarn called marshmallow, and it's white. It's a very white yarn. This one is, no, it's not marshmallow, it's marzipan. This one's marzipan, number 39. Drops Flora, which is a 65% wool, 35% alpaca base. And I haven't got very far. I have done provisional cast on. No, I haven't done provisional cast. Have I done provisional cast on? I think I do. I have a provisional cast on for the bottom of the v-neck. It's been a while since I took this out of its bag, so I have no idea. I haven't even looked at the pattern. But I have done like the cast on, the top, the beginning bit, the back of the shoulders, the kind of the front of the V-neck. Is it a V-neck? No, the front of the neckline. So it hasn't gotten very far yet, but I am enjoying the feel. I do like the feel of this yarn when I knit with it. I have done a few garments with this base, and I like the finished object. I like the feel of it when I'm wearing it. They tend to be lightweight and warm, and I'm just really enjoying it. I'm loving the way the raglan is looking in this yarn, and I love this colour. It is a lovely kind of a cool light beige, because I am quite cool toned. I like cool toned items, and this is a very pretty colour. I really like this. I wouldn't normally put this near me, but because it's not going to be near my face, I'm going to get to use a nice bright colour that I wouldn't normally gravitate towards in a garment, so I'm very happy about that. The needle sizes I'm using are probably written in the pattern. Yes, I'm using 3mm for the stockinette, 3.5 for the lace work, and I am basing my stockinette on a 24 stitch gauge, which is kind of my standard for a fingering weight garment, is 24 stitch gauge, and I usually use a 3mm needle for that, unless there's some unusual yarn that's slightly off gauge. That just leaves me with one more item. This episode might not be too long. Okay, I cast on a petite knit pattern, my first petite knit pattern, and that is the Storm Sweater. I love this sweater. It's kind of got that kind of Gansey sort of like a style feel to it. It is a DK weight pattern, a 20 stitch gauge. I'm knitting it on a 4mm needle, and I have done a reasonable amount of it so far. I have done part of the back panel. It is an odd shape because this one is a raglan, but the raglan is on the back of the shoulders rather than being at the front and the back. The raglan is at the back. It's hard to describe it really. Is it a raglan? Is it a drop shoulder? It's a drop shoulder with an, that's why it looks, it is a drop shoulder, but the shoulder seam isn't on the top of the shoulder, it's on the back, so it kind of looks like a back raglan. It means that the piece looks really weird, so it's like starts out here and then it kind of diagonals down till you get to like the side of the sweater, and this is the back piece rather than, yeah. I'm very happy with how it's working out. It's quite enjoyable having these different charts. You can just say, oh, I'll just finish this chart, and then you feel like you've completed something, and then you move on to the next part and the next pattern. Really liking it. This yarn, oh, this yarn I bought for a different sweater, again during my big Drops purchase many years ago. It is Drops Lima, which is a 65% wool, 35% alpaca, so the same as the Flora, although it doesn't feel quite as soft as the Flora, and it is in colourway 9010, which I think is called Smoke Grey or something like that. You cannot get this yarn anymore, this colour. I bought it for a colourwork sweater, so I didn't need as much of this. This uses a lot more yarn and has no colourwork, so I'm short of this yarn. I did manage to get 4 more balls from some random yarn shop that still had some in stock. I'm hoping I have enough of this, but I'm not convinced. What I'm going to do is I'm going to knit some more of this, see how much yarn it has used up, and then calculate out if I've got enough yarn. If not, I will be searching online for some more of this colour. The yarn that I bought extra of is a different dye lot number. So what I'm doing is I'm incorporating it into the garter bands, and anywhere I think I can kind of hide it. So like in the cuffs, the ribbing, that sort of thing. I have my eye on a listing on Etsy for this, from, I think it's somewhere in Europe, so I'll have to pay extra shipping, but I'm willing to pay it to get more of this colour, because I cannot get it from regular shops. It's discontinued, that colour range. That colour is discontinued. There are many other greys, just not the one I want. But I do like this colour. It's kind of, it's not a warm grey. It's looking much cooler on camera, but it's also not a cool grey. It's what I would call, it's bordering on a neutral grey, which I can get away with a neutral grey, but it's not like what you think of as a neutral grey. It's an unusual shade of grey, which doesn't look so much on camera, but when you see it in real life, it's not a shade you often see. It's kind of smoky. I like it. So that, I think, is all my works in progress. Yay, that didn't take too long. I can go drink more tea now. So, updates. Is there any? Oh, I do have some stash acquisition. Ugh, a few more minutes. I have some stash acquisition. I went to visit Mum a few weeks ago, and I brought yarn back because of course I did. You go off island, you buy yarn. So I bought sock yarns. I bought this skein by Woolcraft, which is just a standard sock yarn, superwash sock yarn, 75/25 in the colourway, does it have a colourway? Shade number 46, and it's beautiful. It's these gorgeous shades of like purples, and it's just a nice moody kind of witchy kind of vibe yarn. I really like it. In fact, Mum bought 2 balls of the same yarn to knit some for her and for my little sister, so very happy with that. I shall get 2 pairs of socks out of that with contrast toes and heels, so I bought that. I also bought a ball of West Yorkshire Spinners Wool Revival 100% recycled. I have not used this before. In fact, I don't know how come I hadn't come across this before, because it is on online. You can buy this online. It is a DK weight yarn. It's 80% British wool, 20% nylon, and it's got a nice feel. It's kind of like that, you know, like a commercial sock yarn kind of feel. And this is in the colourway Glacier. I have plans for this. There is a pair of lace cable socks, normally in fingering weight yarn, that I'm going to knit in a DK weight yarn, and it's kind of got a wave pattern on it, so that's why I bought this colour. I thought it would look quite pretty, and I shall report back on what this yarn is like, but it feels like a commercial sock yarn, so I imagine it will work quite well. And I bought 2 skeins of other DK weight sock yarn. I bought, these are both Rico Sock and Volley Premium 6 ply. It's not quite a DK. I would say it's slightly thicker than a sport weight, slightly thinner than DK weight. It has a recommended needle size of 3 to 4 millimeters. And these are 150 gram balls and 380 meters. So I guess it kind of is a DK weight, but it's slightly on the thinner side. I have bought colourway number 7 and colourway number 10. So I have this kind of like a beige, like a cool beige light brown colour, and this kind of trying to see in the light in here, this kind of charcoaly colour. And my plan is to knit boot socks, like walking boot socks with these. They are sock yarns. They are 75% wool, 25% nylon, and these will be slightly thicker but not too thick. Like my other DK weight sock yarns are usually things like the Drops Fiesta, and that's the Drops yarns, they're usually a little bit on the thick side. So the Fiesta is, I would say, more like a worsted weight. These are somewhere like between a sport and a DK, so they'll be thicker than a fingering weight, so they're hardier, but they're not going to be so thick that they're going to be uncomfortable in a pair of walking boots, so they're still going to be wearable. I want to make some that are kind of like longer and slightly slouchy, so when I'm wearing leggings and walking boots, yeah, that's the plan with these. So I always, when I buy yarn, I always have a plan for it. Almost 95% of the time I have a plan for it, unless I go to a yarn festival in which case, you know, all the pretties, shiny, shiny. So that is everything for this episode. Otherwise, I think I updated on my previous videos to what's going on around here because I've just literally just recorded it. I'm doing lots of recording for all 3 channels. Links are all in the description box below. I will link all my patterns down below. And other than that, plans around here. What have we got? We've got really boring things like we're getting a new central heating system, hopefully in the next few weeks. We had no central heating for the past fortnight. It's been 2 months, not 2 weeks. We do have log burners, that's been okay, and other heaters, but it's been a bit chilly around here. But it's been fine, but it's been a bit chilly. So hopefully new central heating, well, definitely before next winter. If nothing else, definitely before next winter. Also, I'm rejigging the layout of my camper van, which I'm going to document in my van video, because I'm planning on doing some long distance walking this year and I want to get out in the van more. So if you want to see my walking vlogs and stuff, they will be in the Wild Heart Roaming Free vlog down below. Long distance walks, I'm not sure which ones yet, but I'm thinking things like West Highland Way, Speyside Way, those sorts of like lengths. I need to do some shorter ones first to build up, but those I'm thinking, because I did do the Great Glen a few years ago and I really enjoyed being away with John for a week, having like a walking holiday a couple of weeks ago, and remember just how much I really do enjoy walking. So that is the plan. And we're growing lots and lots of vegetables. They're on the Homestead channel down below. We have big plans for the garden this year. I've just got so much on. For some reason this spring I just want to do everything. But I can't do everything. But I'm going to try. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave this video here. I don't want it to get too long and I need more tea. So I shall see you on the next video. Thank you for watching and I shall speak to you again soon. Bye bye.